So, as you're probably aware, a new trailer has been released for Spider-Man Brand New Day, which I have to say I am very much looking forward to seeing. It makes the film look a lot more interesting, and it looks like a far more visually polished movie in this trailer when compared to the previous trailer. Peter Parker is undergoing some kind of transformation that's making him more powerful. He's getting new abilities. He doesn't know what's going on. And the theory is that he's becoming Man-Spider. His genetic mutation is mutating further, I guess. So it seems. So he's now producing his own webs, where previously he was having to actually make them. And so he consults Bruce Banner, and Bruce describes how he maintains control over his alter ego, since integrating Hulk and Banner together into one persona, basically. He has this device that does it, that allows him to be Professor Hulk. But what's great is we see him remove this device. We see him without the device on his wrist, and he becomes the original raw Hulk once again, which is just so much better. It's so much better to see the real Hulk, and that's what fans really want, I think. Professor Hulk was, of course, introduced in Avengers Endgame, and I must say that I thought it was one of the weaker aspects of the film and kind of turned Hulk into a comedic character, and Hulk really lost his menace and his sense of danger and threat, because he was so volatile that, you know, even the other Avengers were afraid of him. And I want to see that again. You know, I want to see the wild, uncontrollable, dangerous Hulk come back. I was never a fan of Professor Hulk as a concept. There is some new unknown threat facing New York, and Spider-Man appears to be unaffected by whatever's going on. Now, John Bernthal plays Frank Castle, Punisher, from the Punisher One Last Kill TV special. And it looks like he's going to play an ally of Spider-Man, but he's also going to be the sort of older male mentor to Peter, because in each of the MCU Spider-Man films, there's been such a mentor-ally role for Peter to bounce off. So in Homecoming, it was Tony Stark, Iron Man. In Far From Home, it was Nick Fury, although that wasn't really Nick Fury. And in No Way Home, it was Doctor Strange. But also, I suppose, in this film, Peter has Bruce Banner as well. So fundamentally, I would say that this trailer gives probably too much away. That's the one thing. And a lot of trailers can do that. Though they've clearly taken pains to hide Sadie Sink's role in this film, they've kept some mystery, but they've also given away a lot. I would say they've possibly given away too much. Now, it's not as bad as some trailers where you watch the trailer and then you feel you don't even need to watch the film because you've just watched a highly compressed 3-minute version of the movie. But it's certainly showing quite a bit in this trailer, I would say. But the emotional core of the film will, of course, be Peter's reunion with MJ and Ned, who both had their memories of Peter wiped in the previous film by Doctor Strange's spell, because the entire world doesn't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So Peter is carrying that heartache of missing his friends and also seeing them move on. So one wonders if their memories will actually be restored somehow in this film. Maybe they'll go down that road. But as I've said in a previous video, I would not be surprised if Brand New Day turns out to be the stronger of the two MCU movies coming out this year. The second, of course, being the big one, Avengers Doomsday, coming out at Christmas. And the reason I think this is because Doomsday, let's be honest, it's really just a cameo bonanza with a bunch of callbacks, a complex multiverse plot device which is just designed to contrive a reason for all these crossovers and bringing back legacy characters, and of course Robert Downey Jr. And I just think that it's going to be a mess of a movie with a really complicated, needlessly complicated plot, whereas Brand New Day will be much more straightforward as a standalone film. And you'll just be able to enjoy it on its own merits, which I think is most important. The story is self-contained and primarily centered on Peter's story arc. So it'll be more character-driven and as a result, probably stronger. Also, given that the Spider-Man films in the MCU are among the strongest and best performing in terms of the box office, I would not be surprised if this film is better received overall. There's also much less expectation for this film when compared to Doomsday, and no doubt that will help it as well. One of the strengths of the MCU Spider-Man films is that they can work entirely on their own, while also fitting into the MCU continuity and adding real value to it, I would say. Doomsday, on the other hand, is going to require audiences to have knowledge of quite a lot of MCU films and TV shows that went before. And so in that regard, it's going to be a less accessible film. It's going to be a less accessible film. And you can probably detect that I'm not overly optimistic for Doomsday. But Brand New Day is looking like it'll be one of the stronger big franchise IP films for this summer, for probably the year. Spider-Man as a brand obviously doesn't need the MCU to flourish, because we've had Spider-Man films before the MCU, obviously. But it's been one of the stronger elements in the franchise since the character was incorporated into the MCU back in 2016, obviously originally appearing in Captain America Civil War. The first proper Spider-Man film in the MCU came out in 2017 with Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man has become one of the more valuable players, you might say, especially when you look at the box office performances of those first three Spider-Man films. So I'm going to be very surprised if Spider-Man Brand New Day isn't another major home run for the Tom Holland Spider-Man saga in the MCU. This latest trailer does give away quite a bit, for sure. But on the other hand, I think it'll just further solidify my position that this film will be a hit. I will be very surprised if it isn't. I've watched a lot of trailers recently that really haven't motivated me to watch the film. You know, I'm not impressed by what I've seen from The Odyssey so far. They may just be bad trailers for that film. The film could end up being great. And I suspect it probably will be a good movie. But I just don't like the trailers. The Mandalorian and Grogu trailers I thought were didn't really have much impact. But this trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day interests me. It makes me want to go and watch the film. So the marketing for the film looks strong at this stage, I would say. And I would say that another reason why I suspect that this film is going to do very well is that it's carrying a lot of audience goodwill from the previous Spider-Man film, the massively successful Spider-Man No Way Home, which came out back in 2021. It's kind of hard to believe that that was 5 years ago now. So that film, No Way Home, brought in $1.9 billion at the worldwide box office. So its success, I think, will generate a lot of excitement for this follow-up. So there you go, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Computing Forever. Hit that notification bell to be notified of future updates on the channel. Hit that like button, share the video out there. Take care, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye-bye.